The goddess of compassion. I had been working and living in the hospitality industry for 3 years in Beijing in the early 90s. It was a fantastic experience, and while it was a hard existence living there, I also loved it. A few years later, a job opportunity presented itself in New Zealand, and I jumped at the chance to travel to a new culture. I was pretty burned out after my experience in China, so I decided that it was time to begin changing my career from stress-inducing to stress-relieving. I made a step to follow what my guidance had shared with me, and that was to learn hypnosis. I totally enjoyed every moment of my studies and became qualified as a hypnotherapist, successively integrating neuro-linguistic programming (NLP) and emotional freedom technique (EFT) into my work at my clinic in Dunedin. Over a decade later, the relationship with one of my soulmates came to an end. I made the difficult decision to leave. I was going through deep, challenging issues at the time. I was filled with doubt, fear, and uncertainty, and I questioned my decision to leave the relationship. I decided to go to Dr. Weiss's course at the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York. Every day that week, we experienced 2 past life regressions, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. I shifted and released many things. Some of the regressions were profound for me, and one linked directly with my time in China. During that regression, facilitated by Dr. Weiss, I uncovered a lifetime in which I had been a helper and student of a goddess. Her name was Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion. I immediately knew her and recognized her energy signature. I was overwhelmed with joy in the regression to see her, to feel her energy, and to be with her again. Regression to see her, to feel her energy, and to be with her again. It became clear during the regression that I had lived a very peaceful experience with Kuan Yin and had spent a lot of time around her, studying and being in her energy. In that life, when I was lying on my deathbed, she came and stood beside me. As I was going through the transition of dying, just before my soul left my body, she placed her hand gently over the center of my chest. The golden light and energy expanded through my whole heart. The feeling was extraordinary, like I had come home. I wept. I felt so much peace and love. She said to me, in the final moments of that life, that she would be forever with me, in my heart, for the rest of my days and for eternity. I was overcome with emotion. It was an extremely powerful experience that day, and it still moves me to tears. Re-experiencing that life reignited the feeling in my heart, too. It was so beautiful. I felt as if I were floating in a perfect dream state. The regression was then brought to a close, and we were allowed time to integrate. The understandings that I gained after it were incredible. I felt I had been searching for the same deep companionship, friendship, understanding, gentleness, and peace my whole life. It was not a dream. I had already experienced it in that existence, and now I had proof that this kind of relationship was possible in my present life too. My inability to let go of my soulmate relationship in New Zealand now made sense. I still wished and hoped that we could have had a similar connection to that which I had experienced with Kuan Yin, but it was not to be. I also began to understand the 3 years that I had spent in China. How I had loved the Chinese people and their food, felt at home there, and picked up the language, and how much I had adored exploring the old parts of Beijing. I had been brought up a Christian in this life, although I later felt little resonance with some aspects of that faith. But I had images and statues of Kuan Yin everywhere. The understanding and connection had not been made in my heart, mind, and soul until that regression with Dr. Weiss. Lying there in the hall after the regression, I reflected on the fact that 2 of my best friends in primary school in North Wales were Chinese twins. It all made sense, as did my deep connection with the goddess Kuan Yin. I understood why I had been totally drawn to this goddess. She had vowed to remain on this planet and not ascend until all beings on earth experienced compassion in their hearts. This was her mission. My work in this life involved the combination of EFT, NLP, hypnosis, and other spiritual tools. I instinctively knew very early on, when working with clients, that for deep healing to occur at a profound soul level there had to be compassion and forgiveness, not only of others, but also of self. So many threads began to come together in my mind in an extraordinary way that day. This experience shone a new, humbling light on the tapestry of my work, life, and existence. What is also interesting is that I am back in China again. I am currently writing this while visiting Shanghai. I visit twice yearly, teaching EFT and other spiritual techniques. I am about to embark on a new journey, developing and teaching courses that will incorporate a number of spiritual techniques including, of course, past life regression. I feel strongly that I am being guided by Kuan Yin, who I know is with me now, always, and forever. I am grateful that your skill and tools have exposed this link within me, with ancient China, the goddess Kuan Yin, my journey, and my work. Michelle Hardwick. Kuan Yin has many names and manifestations. As the Bodhisattva of compassion, she exists in every culture and religion, helping us through our pain and suffering in this physical dimension until we all reach a state of deep peace, unconditional love, and enlightenment. At that point, our incarnations can end and we may choose to stay in the spiritual realms. If we can conceive of and feel divine energy entering our hearts, just as Michelle felt Kuan Yin's, we would be able to fully comprehend that beautiful promise, "I will be with you always, to the end of time." This is the same promise Michelle heard. She would be forever with me, in my heart, for the rest of my days and for eternity. Love is forever. It surrounds us at all times. Like Michelle, I have had my own past life connection to China. On a trip there several years ago, I was meditating early one morning with monks in the Wutai mountain area, deep within the country. During the meditation, I had an image of myself as a general of some sort, a leader of people. The memory seemed to be several thousand years old. I was sitting on a white horse, up on a hill, overlooking a vast field. From this elevated vantage point, I could look down at the valley below and see all my people, the people that I was entrusted to protect and take care of, to safeguard. My heart was so filled with love and compassion for them. I felt especially blessed to have such a position of responsibility and privilege, and I wanted every single being in that vista to feel the way that I did, to have a heart overflowing with kindness, caring, protectiveness, and the sense that we were all linked together. I could see myself sitting on the horse and wearing a kind of primitive armor, with a breastplate made of horizontal bars of bamboo wood. I remember feeling that the horse was meaningful too, and that he and I were also connected. At that moment, I vowed to bring this sense of deep and compassionate love that so filled my heart to all the beings in this entire area and beyond. That became my goal. It is a vow that I continue to make on a daily basis, one from which this book, as well as all my work, is born. In some of my regressions or meditations I will have mere glimpses of past lives, while at other times it is more like a movie, in which events progress from past to present to future. But in this one glimpse, for I did not see the whole lifetime, the feeling state was far more significant than any details. What was important was to take that vow, to wish that all the other beings in that entire land could feel the same way, and to know that I would do everything in my power to bring that about. I had this experience and wrote this account before ever hearing Michael's story, yet how alike they are. Michelle wrote of Kuan Yin, she had vowed to remain on this planet and not ascend until all beings on earth experienced compassion in their hearts. This was her mission. That had been my mission as well. Perhaps, at that long ago moment on the hilltop as I looked over my people, Kuan Yin had placed her loving hands on my own heart, just as she had done with Michelle. As I mentioned above, some regressions are powerful not for the concrete details they provide but for the deeply transcendent emotions they generate. Your subconscious mind knows where it must go for healing, and you can trust it to lead it to the experience that you most need. When this happened to Nathaniel, the author of the next story, his life did not merely Soulmate. This is a part of Zindagi Ki Roshni consultancy. It has been established for those who have lost someone and for those who are very sad in their life. About 100 PDF books and 20 short audio books of this topic will be sent to those who join it. This data will be sent to their email or WhatsApp. If you want to join this organization, then please send WhatsApp message to this number.